Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. This is Market Today. I'm Sakshi Batra and with me is Shail Bhatnagar. Well, the stock markets, they wiped off the morning gains yesterday amidst the lack of confidence that the global pain was done and dusted, and definitely they closed in the red. But while the Nifty may not have managed to close above that 24,000 mark, it still managed to hold on to the Monday's low, and that's the positive part. The Nifty Bank, however, has actually shed about 1,800 points in the last 3 days, and today will be its weekly expiry, so we'll have to see how it pans out too. It remains to be seen whether the markets will attempt another sustainable recovery today, and of course we will be focused on the earnings aspect and what the global markets are already suggesting. Some signs of relief across the US markets and across Asia, but some signs of positivity along with the volatility as well. But there was also two other good news points that the markets will be reacting to. One is a relief for home buyers. The government is now set to allow taxpayers to avail either a lower rate of 12.5% without indexation or a higher rate of 20% with indexation if the property is acquired prior to July 23rd of 2024. And of course, at the Paris Olympics, we've actually seen Vinesh Fogart, the warrior princess, become the first Indian woman wrestler to reach the Olympics final, and that's another good news that we have to cheer back home. Good morning to all our viewers and good morning, Shail.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We'll just rush through the morning cues. There is a lot lined up. We'll start obviously with the Nifty chart right there in front of you. There are two relief points that are coming in. There is a positive close on Wall Street, although just like our markets yesterday, the Dow, the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 retreated from intraday highs. So you can take it as a glass empty, half empty or half full. It again depends on your individual trades as to which side you think the market will move, but there is positivity across Japan. We'll show you the Nikkei. At the moment the Nikkei is trading 2.28% higher, 35,464, and that's mainly on account of a view coming in from the Deputy Governor of the Bank of Japan, who says that they will not be tinkering with interest rates any further until markets are unstable. So that's a short-term positive that is coming in, and that's the reason why you see a mild uptick on GIFT Nifty. You see positivity in Asia, and of course the close that happened on Wall Street was in green. Now, does it mean that you should buy Nifty immediately? No. What basically needs to be done is let the index be. Let it sort out its own problems. Remember, the fight is between the currencies of the US and Japan. We did fall, but we fell the least as far as global markets are concerned. Still there is pain in the system. JP Morgan's chief says that the entire amount of yen carry trade needs to unwind. Well, that's not possible because speculators borrow money wherever it is available cheaply. Earlier it was at 0, now it is at 0.25%. So the entire yen trade will not unwind, but nevertheless there are signs that there is more unwinding ahead, and we need to keep that in mind. Of course, this is the second day of the MPC, the Monetary Policy Committee meeting that's happening in Mumbai, and tomorrow will be the credit policy. In any case, today is the weekly expiry of the Bank Nifty. So a lot of macro is impacting our local markets. It's best to stay away from the Nifty and the Bank Nifty. If you are an intraday trader, just let it settle down. And of course, there are two important points that you need to watch, which is the close of day before yesterday, which is somewhere in the vicinity of 23,890. Should it break on the lower side, well then things will sort of go south as far as the Nifty is concerned. And if we are able to close above 24,400, that will be a positive step. What else is to look forward to? A stunning set of numbers have come in from three companies, which are Lupin, Tata Power and Cummins. Remember, Lupin is up 76%, profit after tax for the past 1 year. Profit after tax is up 77% at 801 crore rupees. The US business of generic exports has grown by 25%. We'll give you more details, but keep this chart in mind. This is headed for a record high. Another stunning set of numbers are coming in from Tata Power. The counter has gained 87% over the last 1 year, while profit is up only 1%. That's mainly because of a one-off item, but very, very strong commentary coming in. Keep an eye out on Tata Power and of course Cummins India. A fantastic set of numbers. Fourth quarter profit rose 33% to 420 crores, and this has been the best performing stock among the three that has come in. 102% higher. Remember, this is after a very major correction that the stock has undergone over the last 4 weeks. So these are the three earnings that I am looking at. Brilliant earnings have also come in from PI Industries, from Blue Star, from stocks such as Chambal Fertilizers, and of course PP Fintech. We'll be keeping an eye on all that. Sakshi will give you the numbers. The DII and the FII picture match. Sakshi will give you the details. For every $1 that for every 1 crore rupee that FIIs are selling, the DIIs are purchasing an equal amount. So the underlying tone, tenor and tonality of the market is improving for the better. There are 7 earnings on F&O today. Among the major ones are Pidilite, Apollo Tyres and of course Coromandel International. Bank Nifty has its weekly expiry. Over the last 5 trading sessions, it's lost 1800 points. The top stock to lose ground is PNB, down 9.5%. State Bank of India lost 8.8% and BOB is down 6.6%. This is after a stunning set of first quarter numbers that have come in, which essentially go to prove the point that wherever there is profit booking, there was the maximum amount of money made. Sakshi, over to you. What is the DII and the FII number as far as yesterday's trade is concerned? And viewers will look at the parity there.
Absolutely, Shail. So the foreign investors, they remained net sellers for the third consecutive session, and they offloaded equities worth about 3,531 crores. Domestic investors, they remained net buyers for the third consecutive session. They mopped up equities worth 3,357 odd crore rupees in yesterday's trade. Now, of course, we do know that the trade setup indicates, of course, the GIFT Nifty is now quoting around 24,170 odd levels. Probably a gap up of about 100 odd points is what we are looking at. Remember, this is after the US markets. They bounced back as the tech stocks also rose. The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, they rallied 1% each, while the Dow Jones also added about 0.8% as of yesterday's trading action. Now, of course, the US 10-year bond yield inched higher to 3.887%, while the gold futures, they dipped to $24-25 a level. The crude oil futures, they quoted at around $73 a barrel as well. Meanwhile, this morning, Asia markets, Nikkei was down by 1.3%. Kospi Straits Times, however, gained 1% each. Taiwan also added by 0.8% each. And now that the GIFT Nifty is also indicating to a positive start. We'll just have to see whether some more domestic news that's coming in by way of the real estate indexation, which is now back in focus. Will the realty stocks cheer this move by the government and probably lend some support in the sentiments domestic markets? Now let's look at some of the stocks. Tata Power came out with the numbers. Profit slipped 0.2% at 970 crores. We did see the revenue, however, increased by 13.7%. And the Tata Power has also announced plans to acquire 40% stake in Koruluchu hydropower plant for about 830 crore rupees as well. So we'll continue to watch out for how Tata Power reacts. Lupin, as already indicated by Shail, profits have surged here 77% to 801 odd crore rupees, and the revenues have seen an uptick of about 16 odd percent. So that's going to be extremely important for us to look. Chambal Fertilizers, the company has reported a 32.4% year-on-year jump in net profit in the first quarter, while the revenue has dipped by about 11.7 odd percent to 4933 crores. Cummins India, Power Solutions technology provider, has reported a 33% jump in the standalone net profit at 419 odd crore rupees. Revenue marginally up by 4.3%. Linde India, of course, it's reported a 13.8% increase in the profit to 113 odd crore rupees, but the revenue has slipped by almost 9.5% this time. VIP Industries, keep an eye out on this one. This is one stock that has been rallying right ahead of the earnings, but the earnings have actually seen a profit drop of 93% to just about 4.04 odd crore rupees. Revenue, however, there was a slight uptick of 0.4%. The companies reported no exceptional gains compared to the 25.27 crore rupees reported in the year-ago period. Gland Pharma, the drug firm, has reported a 26% year-on-year decline in the net profit. Revenue, however, is up by 16%. Bosch, the auto components major, has reported a 13.8% year-on-year increase in the net profit, while the revenue has increased by 3.8%. PB Fintech, the parent company of Policy Bazaar and Paisa Bazaar, reported net profit of 60 crores for the first quarter. In the corresponding quarter, the company had a loss of 11.9 crores, and the revenues have also jumped substantially by 52% almost to 1,010 odd crore rupees. Good set of earnings coming in there. Suzlon, the renewable energy solutions provider, has said that its board of directors have approved the acquisition of 76% equity share of Renom Energy Services in multiple tranches. This will be valued at 660 odd crore rupees. So we'll keep an eye out on that one too. Gulf Oil, we've seen a 24% jump in the profits at 84 crores and the revenue increasing by 10 odd percent. We've also seen Rain Industries report a loss of 44.9 crores and a profit of compared to a profit of 206 crore rupees in the previous year same quarter. Bata has seen a 62.8% increase in the profit of 174 odd crore rupees, but it has reported an exceptional gain of 133.95 odd crore rupees. So these are some of the stocks that I'll be keeping an eye out on, Shail.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, this is also the right time to speak to Mr. Anurag Singh, Managing Partner at Ansid Capital. Good morning to you, sir, and a very warm welcome. What would you think in terms of the pain that we are watching in Wall Street and the Japanese markets as far as this carry trade is concerned? What are your sources telling you, and how do you see this fight that is happening between two elephants?
Shailji, morning, and morning to Sakshi as well. Look, this caught me by surprise, Shailji, and I was traveling last week and certainly not ready for it, and it just hit like a bomb on, I think, Thursday. And I think these things only you figure out in the hindsight when they happen. We all knew carry trade happens. US was a safe bet. Market was rallying, expected. All the brokerages were raising targets from 5,400 to 5,600 to 5,800, even 6,000. So why would somebody not borrow free of cost in Japan and then invest in US markets? I guess much of the Japanese population was doing it, and a lot of hedge funds in US were also probably might be doing it. What is the extent of it? We don't know. And I don't think market will only find out later as to what is the extent of this carry trade. So that makes it very difficult to kind of project as to whether this pain has ended or whether this unwinding still will happen more. However, there is one respite, which is that since Bank of Japan has now kind of taken charge and made its views clear, I think the only clarity further needed would be what is the currency level they're targeting. I don't know whether they're targeting 145 on the yen or whether they are okay with 155. That's the question which is still open. But I think once that clarity emerges, I think that trade should stabilize, right? In any case, I think on the margins, people would now know better that it's not as free money. If the currency rate changes, it can really rob you out of your appreciation wherever you're looking for 5-7%. So that's the understanding, Shailji. We hope it is over now, but we really don't know. The undertone of the market in US is still bearish. I mean, outside of the, you're seeing the S&P correction of 6-7% and NASDAQ correction of maybe 10%. But outside of this, Russell small cap has gone back to where it started early this year, right? So, and all the indices, financials and healthcare, everything is like down at 2022 level, which is like, the year of Ukraine war. So it's pretty bad broadly for the market. It is not so much seen in the index levels, but the undertone is pretty bullish. And a little bit, the market is a bit scared and not very sure unless Federal Reserve really comes up and starts cutting rates very aggressively. So that's the mix, Shailji. That's where we are. Let's hope it has ended. The worst is behind us, but we can't say.
We can't say. Anurag, very good morning to you. What should an average retail investor then do in that case if there is no clarity as of now as to whether the pain is done and dusted or not yet? What are you advising clients right now?
So the clients in US, the advice is whatever has happened, don't panic, sell, and I think that's where we are doing. Look, I think what ours is more like a value fund, so we got a little bit hit more because the value stocks really lose money pretty fast. But we are reasonably sure. Look, if as long as we've not bought the stocks expensive, we are okay, and I think that money will come back. We know the economy is not in recession, so that at least what we can assure our listeners is that US economy is not going into recession. That's not we can never be 100% sure, but we are reasonably sure that that's not the case out here at least. So this is all technical selling, which will kind of correct itself in due course of time. And as long as we are not in expensive stocks, that's fine. Other point about US markets is that the results are not as bullish as they were for the last couple of quarters. So I think every company is very cautious on guidance, so which results into a little bit of a revision of the guidance and revision of the projected quarterly earning estimates from the brokerages. But that aside, I think that's a marginal play. In any case, the grand rotation from these 6, 7 glorified stocks to the rest of the market was long overdue, and I think it will happen in due course of time. Now, most of the people listening to us right now would be Indian investors, and okay, and maybe traders. Traders are smart themselves; they can figure out because they try and make money every day. So we can't advise them. At least I am certainly not of the trading mindset, so I don't have anything much to suggest to them. Investors, well, the story is well sold out to all the Indian investors that stay put and keep the SIPs going. Whether that will work out, I have my own doubts. I keep writing about that occasionally, but that's a longer discussion, Sakshi. Currently, the advice is stay put, but please focus on large caps. I think this whole mania of mid and small caps and thematic funds in India, this has really gone to crazy extent, and I think this needs to stop. That I'm very sure is not going to go end very well, Sakshi.
Anuragji, if you look at the Indian markets, which are the pockets of value that you see emerging? Of course, we've corrected 1,000 points from the most recent record high. Nevertheless, markets remain expensive. But for strategists such as you, it's always a good time to buy, provided you know what to buy. Any specific sectors you think make sense in the large cap space, and what would you be avoiding?
So, Shalji, I must admit, for a foreign investor like me who is not very active in Indian markets, we restrict our view to broadly 3 sectors, which is discretionary, technology, and financials. And that traditionally, that trade has worked out for the last 20 years perfectly fine, except for the last 2 years. Now, Indian markets in the last 2 years have gone into multi-directional, various sectors which typically FIIs like me don't invest and don't understand, because they are, you need a sense on the ground and channel checks and so many things. So I think I don't really understand too much of this capex play and PSUs and all of that. And I think none of the FIIs understand. Even if they try to, their metrics won't allow them to invest. So I think for that, I would say the investors are better advised to consult the advisors who are suggesting them, those kind of stories. But that said, I would say private sector banks in India are pockets of value. I think they are right now being overlooked. One, because FIIs constantly keep selling, so the value is not coming up, right? If there is a seller constantly, I think then the value is not coming up. Technology in these typical IT companies, IT services companies are overvalued. So I think be shy from them. I wouldn't give a 40 multiple to a TCS, when a Apple-like company out here is seen as expensive at 30 multiples, right? So imagine the contrast that is there. So private banks, a lot of value, technology value is missing. Discretionary in India is very expensive and continues to be expensive, right? So again, we can't buy. Finally, Shailji, the lot of money in India is going through private equity towards healthcare. I think that's keep an eye on that sector, because In India, healthcare is for profit, and I think there is a lot of money to be made. There are very few listed entities. Try and figure out, outside of pharma, between diagnostics to hospitals to other channels in between. I think there is a lot of money to be made here in healthcare. Much of that is also being made through private equity, but wherever investors can find value in listed companies, they're all cheaper. This demographic which is getting richer has no other place but these limited companies to get treated, and that's where I see some value, Shelji.
Okay. Well, Anurag, we'll
Okay.
thank you on. Yes, Anurag, please make your point.
Yeah, can I also add this whole crazy mania about PSUs? I fail to understand how, since and when I was growing up in India, the whole story was that PSUs is government has no business to be in business, and this PSUs ultimately will be privatized, and they all are like a deadlock on the neck, and India has to get rid of that. And now suddenly PSUs are the star of the market. I don't know. I mean, this raises serious questions, not only on the market, but on the whole vision of how the government sees the India story, right? PSUs cannot be the future of any country. It has not happened anywhere in the world. So I don't know when this party ends, but the sooner it ends, the better it is.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Anurag, for
So,
being with
Anurag,
us.
there is
Yeah.
a sea change.
Yes, Shail.
So what we'll do, Anurag, is we'll get you again in this week somewhere later during the day, and we'll explain the PSU story for you. It's like old love coming back into the markets. Remember, somewhere in the
I know.
80s and 90s, when you were not born, this was the mainstay of the markets, and it's come back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
But we'll invite you again, and we'll discuss the beauty of PSUs. Thank you so much for your time, Sakshi.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, viewers, we'll now get you a new expert and a tax expert at that. Before we get back to the markets, we have Mr. Ved Jain, a seasoned tax expert, now joining in to help us understand the proposal of the amendment that the government has announced as of yesterday with respect to the indexation benefit that was removed earlier, and it's now back as per the amendment, and that would be presented to the Parliament even today. Warm welcome to you, sir, and thank you so much for joining in early in the morning. First up, I want to understand from you, is it good news? And of course, seems like the real estate sector has been pushing back the government on the indexation news the moment it had come back, the moment it was announced in the budget. And do you see this as a full rollback, or is it just a partial rollback? Because I guess the prospective tax will still remain, right?
Sakshi, this is very good news. Good morning, and it's a good news, and which has come late evening yesterday. I believe all middle class peoples, particularly homeowners, etc., were looking forward to this amendment. And I will say the amendment which has been proposed is a win-win situation in either of the situation. It's a very interesting amendment which has been proposed. You can make a choice whether you want to go under the old law or you want to go under the new law. Whichever is more suitable, you can pick it up. So you have the options to have the better of the two. So that's why the real sector should be very happy with this new, amendment which has been proposed. I will just explain what was the amendment. See, earlier the capital gain was chargeable to tax at the rate of 20% after indexation. And what the budget proposal was of the finance minister is that we will do away with the indexation and we will straight away levy tax at the rate of 12.5%. And now that's why there was a lot of hue and cry that because the people who have bought houses long time back, their indexation cost was going up. So they will end up paying higher tax at 12.5% now. Now, in order to address that issue, the finance minister has proposed an amendment, and she said that you compute the tax liability either under the old law or under the new law, and whichever is more favorable, you can pick it up. Because the restriction has been posed that you compute the law tax under the new law, that means without indexation at the rate of 12.5%. And if this tax is more than the tax which would have been payable under the old law, that means you have get the cost indexed, then apply the rate of 20%. And if that rate tax comes lower than this rate, then you can pay the lower. So now the option will that lower of the two meaning thereby you can enjoy the benefit of both the new law as well as under the law, whichever suits you more. That's the amendment. I believe this is a good news for all real estate sector, for a middle class taxpayer and everyone that way.
Okay, Mr. Jain, also help us understand. I think the earlier discussion was around, whether you are making above 10% interest on your property holding or below that. Those making higher than 9.5% interest rate were likely to be benefited. Those making below were likely to be impacted by this proposal. Where does that argument now stand? Does it have any, valuable argument as of now?
See, the law is now what amendment has been proposed. You need to compute the tax as per the old provision. So, in the case of the old provision, the interest was allowed to be capitalized. You can do it, and then on that basis, you can compute the tax liability. And if that tax liability is lower than the new liability under the new regime, then obviously you can pay lower tax under the old regime, or that means old provision, including the interest cost.
Okay, so Mr. Jain, for an average, property buyer, what would you say now who may be looking at buying properties as a real estate investment? What changes now?
I will say this benefit is available only to those property which has been acquired before 23rd July 2024. So if you buy a new property today, then indexation will not be allowed. But this will facilitate that in case you intend to sell the old house which you have acquired before 23rd July and you want to buy a new house or you want to do something new, that benefit will be available. So for buying new property, this benefit will be available when you sell the old house. But in case the property has been acquired on or after 23rd July 2024, then that benefit of this will not be available. So whatever you are buying today, on that indexation will not be allowed. Because that's why we say there is a sunset clause which has been put in there. Property should have been acquired before 23rd July, but the benefit of indexation will continue to be available for all time to come in respect of those properties.
Okay, is there anything else you want to hear from the finance minister on this as a clarity, as a representative of the real estate players?
I will not say there is any other clarity is required, because the law, she has very simply, in simple words, she has made an amendment. You compute the tax under the new law, you compute the tax under the old law. Whatever was the old law, you can compute. In case you believe that the tax under the old law is lower than the new under the new law, you need to pay the tax at the lower law. That's the amendment which she has.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Jain,
My
for
pleasure.
sharing this wonderful insight for all our viewers.
The market. The Nifty is opened. The Nifty is opened 300 points higher at 24,300, ladies and gentlemen. This is a great start. We'll just look at a couple of stocks that are pushing this number and then get to Gaurang Shah. You have a very strong uptick on Infosys, 4% higher, 1822. Tata Motors 3.5% higher, SBI 2.8% higher. The only laggard in the top 10 are the three banks, HDFC Bank, Kotak Bank, and that's mainly on account of the expiry of the Bank Nifty on a weekly basis. What's doing fabulously well, ladies and gentlemen, as far as the markets are concerned, on the NSE 500 is Lupin, 8% higher, 2080. Remember, this will head for a record high thanks to a very strong show. What is coming back into focus? Defense, 6.6% higher on Mazgaon. Power Finance Corporation came out with a great set of numbers, 5% higher, almost 500. PB Fintech, fantastic numbers, 4% higher, 1492. You have Suzlon Energy, which is just done a buyout, 5% higher, limit up, 69.58. Let's look at the F&O space and look at stocks that are moving. DLF and Oberoi Realty are amongst the top traded, if not the top winners. Oberoi Realty, yes, 7.8% higher at about 1800. This is the market so far. In terms of the top active counters, it's Lupin, Oberoi Realty, Idea and Power Finance Corporation. So either you have an earnings led theme, which is Lupin and Power Finance Corporation, or you have the news led news, which is Oberoi Realty, 4.5% higher. Absolutely the right time to welcome Mr. Gaurang Shah, Senior Vice President for Geojit Financial Services. नमस्कार गौरांग जी, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत. आप आए और हरा निशान वापस स्क्रीन पर 220 अंक ऊपर निफ्टी। किस हिसाब से आप देखते हैं ये समस्या क्या हमारे पीछे है? दो दिग्गजों में लड़ाई हो रही थी और जो वकील और पुलिस का बिल था वो भारतीय बाजारों ने भरा।
वकील और पुलिस के बीच में एक अहम व्यक्ति होता है, वो है न्यायाधीश साहब, जज साहब। मेरे ख्याल से हमें वो बनने की जरूरत है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद शैल भाई इस मंच पर आमंत्रित करने के लिए। आपको, साक्षी जी को और सभी दर्शकों को सादर प्रणाम और शुभ प्रभात हमारे तरफ से। तो मेरे ख्याल से बाजार को संभलने में थोड़ा समय लगेगा। मार्केट्स विल टेक टाइम टू पॉसिबली स्टेबलाइज। वी आर नॉट आउट ऑफ द वुड्स। देयर आर स्टिल सम आफ्टर शॉक्स ऑफ द भूकंप दैट वी सॉ ऑन सोमवार सुबह। जो हमने भूकंप देखा, उसके झटके थोड़े बहुत पूरे हफ्ते में हमें बर्दाश्त करने पड़ेंगे और मेरे ख्याल से आदत पड़ जाएगी। अगर हमने कोविड को झेल लिया तो ये तो कुछ भी नहीं है। आई विल पुट इट दैट वे एंड वी रिकवर्ड वेल। आई थिंक हमारा मानना है कि, और कल भी अगर आप देखेंगे तो शुरुआत अच्छी हुई थी, लेकिन फिर बाजार बंद बंद होते हम नीचे के दायरे में जाकर के बंद दिए। तो मेरे ख्याल से उठा पटक का माहौल होगा, लेकिन 24,000 के नीचे का जो स्तर है, 50, 150, 100, 150 पॉइंट का निफ्टी स्पॉट की मैं बात कर रहा हूँ, उससे नीचे जाने की संभावना फिलहाल कम लग रही है। दिक्कत यह है कि जियोपॉलिटिकल सिचुएशन के लेकर के आप कोई भी अनुमान नहीं लगा सकते और वो सबसे बड़ा खतरा है। मैं बिल्कुल ही निश्चिंत हूं अमेरिका में पावल साहब कब ब्याज दरें बढ़ाएंगे, घटाएंगे, या फिर बैंक ऑफ जापान ने जो किया उससे मैं बिल्कुल निश्चिंत हूं शैल भाई। और बाजार में ये पता था जब से हमने ये साल शुरुआत किया, और पिछले साल भी हमें खबर था कि बैंक जापान में क्या परिस्थिति और खास करके अमेरिका में क्या परिस्थिति। जो चीज मुझे सता रही है वो जियो पोलिटिकल सिचुएशन। अगर वहां पर कोई बड़ी आक्रामक परिस्थिति, आई डोंट थिंक any state head over there would want to take any kind of aggressive stand. I hope that diplomatic approach and words of wisdom and pipes of peace will play an important role rather than throwing missiles and rockets and bullets at each other. But I believe that this is a great market to buy. You mentioned defense stock. I think my Panch Pandavs still stand. Other than that, I think FMCG has reacted well. Cement is the other pocket. Banking and finance has always been our favorite. So I think there's plenty of opportunity. I think this is the kind of time when there is, as the great guru has said, when there is fear in the street, you should be greedy. And when there is greed on the street, you should be fearful.
Yes. Absolutely. बहुत ही बढ़िया आपने जो पूरे बाजार का एक अच्छा ब्यूरो दिया गौरांग जी। ज़रा चर्चा करते हैं अब अर्निंग्स की। Strong performance coming in, actually brilliant performance coming in from mid caps such as Lupin, Blue Star, PI Industries, Cummins India. Anything that heartens you in this first quarter number that has come in? What according to your research team will be maybe 2 or 3 outperformers in the coming 9 to 18 months that investors can buy into either in a SIP format or maybe outright?
So all the three names you mentioned on the earnings front, Lupin, Blue Star, and Cummins, feature in our fundamental list share. But if I had to give some not so very large cap, but you mentioned, I mean, I also agree with you, mid cap मजौले shares ने, कंपनियों ने नतीजों के आधार पर बहुत बेहतर रुझान दिया है. They have performed well in terms of earnings. So one company in the mid-cap IT pack that we have revised our targets is KPIT Tech. It's small to mid-cap category, KPIT Tech. Amongst the other plays, I think Ashok Leyland post numbers that we saw looks very, very encouraging. Zomato we have discussed many times. I don't need to say that. The kind of numbers they have reported is humongous. And I think Blinkit is only going to throw in that golden sunshine that it needs on the balance sheet. Tata Power, NTPC, Power Grid are some of the other names. I'm talking about shares which are not, for a retail investor share, it becomes difficult to look at 1,000+ kind of shares because there's a limited resources in terms of deployment in capital markets. So I think these kind of shares which are likely tomorrow or day afters, supposedly from small to mid to mid large cap, and then mid large cap to large cap stocks capability. You should look at these kind of stocks, and they have got their own inherent growth story also share.
Very good morning to you, Gaurang, and thank you so much for taking the time out for us. I want to begin by understanding your view on the real estate space. Just before you joined in, we were speaking to the tax expert, Mr. Ved Jain, and you would have heard a part of what he did say. The real estate sector, industry as a whole, and also the consumers are probably cheering this rollback of sorts on the indexation benefit removal that the government had proposed in the budget. Realty stocks are already looking up in the pre-opening trade. A lot of these stocks like Macrotech, Oberoi Realty, DLF, Urban Smart Spaces, DB Realty, they're all up by 4, 5, 6 odd % in trade today. How would you really look at the real estate space stocks? Is it just going to be a joyous moment and things back to the fundamentals? How would you really look at the real estate industry and the stocks?
Thank you, Sakshi. It's great to speak to you this morning. Morning to you as well. What I understood right, as per the experts who were there on the panel earlier, that there is a sunset clause. Anything that you bought before 23rd July 24 will qualify for that indexation benefit. That is what I understand. I hope I'm right on that, Sakshi. Uh, as far as in India, especially in metros and tier 1, tier 2 cities, I don't think anybody, if I talk about average common person, it is so difficult to get a head over your shelter over your head, a roof over your head. Forget about investment idea. I think that kind of activity is more restricted to the HNIs and the ultra HNIs of the world, who can have the capability of buying a couple of more houses rather other than what they stay in. And I think they come in a different league altogether. This particular clarification post the announcement made in the budget was in the market grapevine yesterday when the markets opened up in the morning. Then you had the clarity coming in and now a fresh beginning. So a knee-jerk reaction will be there on the real estate sector, undoubtedly, Sakshi. We do have coverage on the real estate sector, but I would say that after the run-up that we saw yesterday and today, I think if you want to make a fresh, either short-term, medium-term call at a gap up today, I don't think it will be advisable. You need to have an elevated risk appetite because then the margin of profitable exit is very, very narrow. I would also like to say that now that you have clarity over here, I think you should look at building material and suppliers company. You're something like metals, cement, pipes and fitting kind of companies, paints, sanitary ware. These are the sectors, and including home decor related kind of company, because then those will also be complemented and they will also have a move in terms of the clarification that we've had from the Honorable Finance Minister on this particular sector.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, the pre-open is settled 300 points higher on the Nifty, 24,290. The Bank Nifty on its weekly expiry day is trying to open 540 points higher, 50,286. Remember, it's lost 1,800 points over the last 5 sessions, and now you will see the short covering coming in. Should the index move above 24,200 for about 1 hour or so, let us see what happens. But this is as good a time as any to welcome Mr. Aditya Agarwal, Head of Derivatives and Technical Research at Sanctum Wealth. Namaste Aditya ji, a very warm welcome to you, sir. Any two stocks that you think will outperform the broader markets today on the long and the short side? We are having a nice deep green opening as far as the markets are concerned.
Morning, Shalendra. Yes, means we can see some short covering move. If we see from short-term perspective, markets are oversold. In last 2-3 days of correction, we have seen that most of the technical indicator, at least on the short-term parameters, are in oversold zone. So we can see a short covering move, which may take Nifty towards 24,400, 24,450 levels. If Nifty sustains above that, then we can see a second round of short covering, which can, and in that scenario, Nifty may move towards 24,600. So some sectors which are looking positive, One is chemical. We are quite bullish on chemical, pharma, and FMCG space for last couple of weeks now. And from those sectors only, we would like to recommend some stocks. Like PI Industries is one stock which has seen a good correction from higher levels. Means if we see PI Industries, it was trading in a range for last 1 year. We saw a breakout couple of days back. Some retracement is there, but structure-wise, stock looks positive. So one can buy at current levels with a target of 4450, 4500, and stop loss will be 4170. Another stock will be from pharma space, Torrent Pharma. Again, this stock has given a good breakout. We are seeing long position getting built up in Torrent Pharma. So this is another stock in which long positions can be built with a target of 3360, 3400, and stop loss of 3150.
Right. Aditya, how would you trade?
Gaurang, getting you into the conversation.
Yes. Yes, Shail, please continue.
Continue, Sakshi. Please continue.
Okay. Apart from... Okay, Aditya, I also wanted to ask you, how are you going to trade PB Fintech today? That's already showing a 5% uptake right after the earnings. Is this a trade that you'll take today?
Well, if we see policy bazaar, means this stock has already seen a good rally and it is consolidation in a range. Now it has a strong resistance in the range of 1530, 1540 levels. Let this stock sustain above that. In that case, yes, we would like to recommend a buy call. But as of now, I would avoid this stock. It is trading very near to its resistance zone of 1530, 1540. Once it breaks that, then we can see 100 points move. In that case, it may move towards 1640, 1650 also. So I would recommend if it goes above 1540, one can buy with target of 1650, but not at current levels.
Right. Gaurang, before the markets open, one very quick one on Cochin Shipyard. It's corrected from 2978 to 2298, almost a 30% correction. Your view?
So I think Shell results are due possibly this time or early next week, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm quite sure that the company is going to report some decent set of numbers. I wouldn't be surprised in some parameters if they are above what the market estimates or our estimates are. I won't take a call on the earnings announcement, but yes, I would again maintain what I have maintained earlier. Don't look at defense from 3 months, 6 months, 1 year perspective. Look at defense from 3-year, 5-year perspective, and I think you will be laughing your way back to the bank after possibly booking profits in these counters.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, people are still laughing their way to the bank. For those who had the nerve and the intelligence to remain invested, you have a 280 point uptick on the Nifty Bank. On the Nifty Bank is opening almost 475 points higher on its weekly expiry, and it's an unbelievable sea of green when you see the markets. Okay, now let's look at the index heavyweights. HDFC 1 percentage point higher, 1650. Infosys taking it away 2.5% higher, 1796. Reliance 18 rupees higher, 2930. All 10 index heavyweights are in the green. This is a fabulous rally that's panning out. Advanced decline, 1719 stocks on the green, just 101 in the red. We tracked 19 indices for you. All 19 of them are in super green. The Nifty Alpha Index is the top gainer, 2% higher. The Realty Index is 2.2%. Mid Cap Index is 1.6% higher. Out of 199 stocks are in the green. The Small Cap Index is 1.5% higher. 98 stocks are in the green. And the NSE 500, 1.3% higher. 489 stocks are in the green. It's a wonderful start of the day. Let's look at the outperformers. For the moment, let's look at the most active counters. Lupin, 3.1% higher, 1972. Tata Power, in the green, 438. Suzlon, led by that purchase, 4.3% higher, 69. Power Finance Corporation, strong set of earnings, 2% higher. Zomato, taking it away, 3% higher, 256. And what is back in action? RVNL from the high beta side, 1.8% higher. Mazgaon, 1.8% higher. BEL, HAL, both of them are in the green from the defense space. I'll just take a very quick look at what's happening in the PSU basket. We track 88 PSUs for you ladies, 85 PSUs for you ladies and gentlemen. Only 3 are in the red. What's in the green? ONGC 2.7% higher, Oil India 4% higher, and of course RECL 2.5% higher. Coming to you, Aditya, what catches your fancy immediately? What would you like to buy? It's a 300 point uptick on the Nifty and a 500 point uptick on the Bank Nifty. Short covering and deep buying.
I won't be very aggressive buyer at this level after this kind of gap up, as Nifty is trading near this resistance zone, which is 350, 400 levels. Some of these stocks which looks good will be like Hindustan Petroleum. This OMC basket is looking good. So I would be buyer in HPCL at current levels. Risk reward ratio is clearly very good at current levels. I mean, I think it can move towards 415, 420 next 1 or 2 trading session. So this is one stock which can be bought. Another stock will be L&T, means this stock has seen a good correction. So we can see some short covering move in L&T from current levels, and it can move toward 3740, 3750 levels.
Okay, I think the one index that you need to watch out for is India VIX. That's down by over 10% at 16.8, and that's the big relief that is panning out in early morning session today. 300 points higher on the Nifty, and that's led by the lesser liquidity that we are faced with right now. A lot of F&O movers, TVS Motor after the earnings, it's now the top moving stock within the F&O space, 4.7% higher. You have Samvardhan Motherson, second day in a row, the recovery continues, 3.8% higher for this one. Bharat Forge, that's another one that's been moving sharply in trade. Chambal Fertilizers after the earnings is also buzzing in trade within the F&O space as well, and of course Lupin, as highlighted by Shail, is also moving up in tandem as well. Let's get a word from you, Aditya, quickly on TVS Motor, and then I will come to Gaurang on the entire auto space then.
Well, if we say TVS Motor, it is the most outperforming stock among the whole auto pack. Means every dip in this stock has been bought into, and today again we have seen a fresh breakout. So structure-wise, quite a positive structure. I mean, we can see a move towards 2750 to 2800 in next few trading sessions. So it's a good stock to enter into at current levels, also on decline. So we remain positive on TVS Motors on current levels with a target of 2750 to 2800.
Okay, Gaurang, coming to you on TVS Motor earnings and of course an all-round view on the auto space as of now. Where do you see the outperformance now coming in from?
I'm sorry, Sakshi, is that for me?
Yes.
So maintain positive stance on Tata Motors. That's been one of our favorite topics since many years now, and after the numbers and the kind of clarity in terms of the growth part, 2 divisions making balance sheet debt light, shifting production of JLR into Gujarat Sanand, opportunity in terms of larger market share, etc., etc. Tata Motors, M&M, Maruti, I think that's going to be the pick order. And two-wheelers, Bajaj Auto, TVS, Hero MotoCorp, Eicher Motors included, along with their play in the Royal Enfield as well as commercial vehicles business, and Ashok Leyland. As I mentioned earlier, I think that's going to be a great stock to look at. And relatively, I think people are not really convinced, Sakshi, about Ashok Leyland capability to deliver. I think that's what excites me the most in terms of the opportunity that lies ahead.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have the first 5-7 minutes of trade that is upon us. It's the IT index that's leading the charge on the large cap space, 39,254, 621 points higher. In terms of sheer, how should I say, strength, the futures market is doing phenomenally well. We have just 6 stock futures which are in the red and 176 stock futures in the green. Is this a short covering that one should get into? Only time will tell, but it's looking good as far as the markets are concerned. This is also the right time to mark record highs. Let us look at some common names. Okay, TVS Motors, KPR Mills, Natco Pharma. This is an interesting stock. Glenmark, and of course from the FMCG building space, Serra Sanitary Ware and Hindustan Sanitary Ware. So these are the two stocks that Gaurang had also alluded to. A very quick view from Gaurang on the way textile stocks have moved because of problems in Bangladesh, our nearest neighbor on the eastern side. Anything that you see fundamentally changing in textile companies? Some of them were up very strongly, 11, 15, 20% in yesterday's trade, and even today, if you look at it, the top gainer is again Gokaldas Exports, 4.5% higher. KPR Mills at a record high, Canterbury, Kitex, Arvind, all of them are in the green. Gaurang, your favorite in this space and your thoughts as far as the textile market is concerned?
Well, so there are three names, and I think someone's poison is other one's food, what is happening in Bangladesh. And I think related companies which have exposure in Bangladesh, something like I think Adani Power or maybe Dabur, they suffered a little bit after the situation that evolved in Bangladesh in terms of ousting of the entity over there. Then, of course, you have companies which will get benefited, which Bangladesh is overshadowing in terms of India's capability, like textile, for example. So we like Ravens, we like Cable Kiran Clothings Limited, and we like Vardhaman Textiles. These are the three textile related names that we have coverage on. And by default, Shail, if you ask me to pick one top idea over here, then it's going to be Ravens.
Fair point. That's the view coming in on the textile space. Although Raymond these days is more, of course, there is the split entity that you are talking about now. The real estate and the textile business have been divided equally between former shareholders. Fair point. That's a good view coming in. But what's taking it away in terms of the entire sector is the pharma space. You have record highs coming in on stocks such as Dr. Reddy's, as also a sharp move on Glenmark. Coming to you, Aditya, would you look at Lupin? The numbers have been fantastic. The counter now 4% higher, one of the top performers in F&O. Your view on Lupin, sir?
Well, we are bullish on Lupin, and we are expecting that this stock may move towards 2100, 2150 levels. But not at current levels, not to enter at current levels. See, stock has seen a very sharp up move. So if there's some dip, stock comes in the zone of 1900 or 1900 or 1880, that's a good level to re-enter for long position. But from current levels, risk reward ratio is not in favor of buyers. So I will wait for some dip of 4 to 5%. Then in that means around those levels, it will be a good buying opportunity. But at current levels, I will avoid.
Basket, that's again on the move. Oil and gas index is now up 1.8%, the top moving sectoral index, and the stock that's pulling this up higher is ONGC, 4.4% higher, the top moving stock within the Nifty as well. Even beyond ONGC, you have Coal India, you have Oil India, GAIL, a whole host of these stocks, and even the OMCs that are buzzing now in trade. Let's get Gaurang into the conversation. Gaurang, what's next for the energy space? What is consistently pushing stocks like ONGC higher? And what should one's approach be towards ONGC and the rest of the pack?
So ONGC and GAIL, I think these are the two upstream companies that we are extremely positive, Sakshi. And my sense is the next big trigger is going to be the opportunity in terms of crude oil is always there, Sakshi, undenied, but I think natural gas and the kind of natural reserves which are there within the onshore of India, in the high seas and ultra deep waters. I think exploration activity got a big push as far as the policy NELP is concerned. There were certain regulations which restricted private entities to participate over here. Looking at those drawbacks, the government and the ministry acted upon it and they have made it more attractive. And our sense is that all these companies, whether it is the GAILs or the ONGCs of the world, or as a matter of fact, even Reliance, they have a decent presence in exploration also. they are likely to perform quite well.
Okay, let's get in Aditya also to give us a sense of where is he finding good opportunities within the oil and gas space for trading ideas right now. Where would you keep your focus today, Aditya?
Well, Hindustan Petroleum is one stock which looks good from trading perspective. And again, ONGC is a good stock among the whole PSU basket, if you see. Means if we see many of the PSU stocks have given a negative breakdown, but ONGC is still holding out. It respected its support zone of 305, 306, and from those levels, we have seen a pullback. So we can see a move towards 335, 340 next few trading sessions in ONGC also. So at current levels, it's a good buy with a stop loss of 312. One can buy with target of 335, 340.
Mistake.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is a view coming in on HPCL. Again, I will mark Lupin for two reasons. It just climbed above the 2000 rupee mark, and this is for the first time since October 2015 that you've seen Lupin resurface above the 2000 rupee level. Keep an eye out on this one. This is of course earnings led, and do have an independent view before you step into the counter. What's clicking, as Sakshi had mentioned, the entire oil and gas space. Let's look at the open interest that's coming in as far as the OMCs are concerned. This will take a little time because the software is sort of structured a little differently. Okay, ONGC 4% higher. The open interest is up 1%. Remember, ONGC came out with a stunning set of numbers, but they were drowned in this cacophony of the yen trade unwinding. ONGC has also been the best performing Nifty stock for the month of July. It had gained 22%. Needless to say, it was at a record high. A comeback trade is in the form of ITC, 1.3% higher, 495. Let us see whether this one gathers fresh momentum or not. And of course, taking it away is Dr. Reddy's, 1.5% higher, 6942. Which are the top gainers in FNO? Let's just look at it from a daily point of view. Of course, earnings led TVS Motors 4.8%, deep value buying ONGC 4.4% higher, Lupin Chambal, both of them earnings led 3.5-4.5% higher, and of course a comeback trade happening in BHEL, in Coal India, and of course Birla Soft. Remember, Birla Soft had sort of weakened post its earnings, which were tepid. What's getting on the red side? Bata India, disappointing set of numbers, 2.8% lower. It's the top FNO lower. Margin contraction had happened, and that's reflecting negatively on the stock price. Cummins, earnings were good. Maybe this is profit booking. Aditya, now 9:30. We have the first 15-minute candle with us. Let me just mark the high and low of that candle. The high is 24,306. The low is 24,242. A bit early to comment on the Nifty, but anything that you would want to do on the index and anything else that catches your fancy?
Well, Shailendra, as you rightly said, that Nifty is means not giving a clear picture as of now. So I will avoid Nifty at current levels, as means Nifty is trading near its resistance zone. So some profit booking from higher levels may come. So we will wait for Nifty for some more time. Among stocks in the private sector bank, Axis Bank is one stock which is showing some traction. Means we are seeing some sign of short curving in Axis Bank. We already seen open interest share burn of almost 0.5% to 1%. And it is trading near the support zone. Means if we see 1120, 1130 is a very strong support for Axis Bank. So I'm expecting that we may see some positive move. It may move towards 1170, 1175. So from current levels, Axis Bank look good from a short-term trading perspective.
Okay. I wanted to ask Gaurang on the entire insurance space as well. Gaurang, how are you assessing the entire space, barring just the last few days of volatility amidst the markets? This space has been consistently showing us some traction, be it the PSU names like LIC or the private names as well, life insurance, general insurance, all of the entire stocks have actually been very buoyant. How are you looking at approaching these stocks?
See, purely from a long-term point of view, I think in terms of performance also, Sakshi, insurance, I'm talking about life insurance related companies, contribution has been much. And beginning of the year, this beginning of this financial year, our sense is that two sectors which have been by and large underperformance, that is specialty and agrochemicals, along with life insurance companies are likely to perform well. And that reflected on the numbers also. If you actually go to see the first quarter numbers as far as the new premium run rate is concerned, most of these companies delivered a better shade and color, and we expect this to get much more better going forward from here on. So, amongst the life insurance side, four prominent names: LIC, HDFC Life, SBI Life, and ICICI Prudential Life. And in the non-life general insurance related companies or mediclaim kind of approach, we like Star Health. We like one of the names that we've been extremely positive in this particular sector is ICICI Lombard. And I think that's been one of the top performer in the non-life general insurance sector.
Okay, got it. What else is buzzing is again some of the broking company stocks. CAMS is buzzing in trade today, and the rest of the stocks are also slightly buoyant. Angel One, CDSL, BSE also is up 2% higher in trade. Let's get in Aditya to comment on these capital markets related stocks. What looks good to you now?
Well, CAMS. I mean, if I have to go with any of these stock from this sector, then I will go with CAMS. Stock has seen a sharp correction of almost 20% in like last 5-6 trading sessions from a high of 4,800 to 3,800. 3,800 is also a 50 days moving average, and this stock has seen a good move from those levels. So I'm expecting that this stock may again move towards 4,400 to 4,500 levels. So we can easily see a move of 8 to 10% from current levels. Looks good at current level. One can buy with a stop loss somewhere below around 39.80 and target of 44.50 to 45.
Fair point, ladies and gentlemen. The intraday low on the Nifty is being tested. These are, of course, trying times if you're a trader on the long or the short side. But for just viewers such as Gaurang, me, and Sakshi, these are, how should I say, reflecting the underlying strength that the Indian equities offer. Gaurang, coming to you, Monday, FII sale number was 10,000 crores. Let's imagine some of it was the yen carry trade, which was getting unwound in India. Equal buying by DIIs, almost 9,200 crores. Yesterday, FII selling is 3,300 crores, DII buying is 3,100 crores. How do you see this wonderful dichotomy where what was constructed, how should I say, improved upon and set up by Indians in terms of the NSE 50 companies now being slowly but surely coming back into Indian hands?
I think Shell, you're one of the person who knows my approach towards the Goras and what my mentality and my optimism is. I would be least bothered about the FIs because, had it been the dependency on FI Shell, we would not have been closer to all-time highs. We've been closer to the all-time lows. It is purely because of the maturity of the retail investor, which has changed over the last 3 to 5 years. And I'm saying this with all responsibility because I have interaction at ground levels. I mean, very recently, I've been traveling the length and breadth of the country, conducting investor awareness programs. I mean, even on Monday, Shell, I mean, why go far? Monday, I did almost about 4 caller shows. And out of the 10 callers, 8 of them asked me a question in different channels that, Gaurang, we have money, tell us where to deploy.
Yeah.
This was on Monday. I mean, this is the maturity level that the retail investor has reached. They earlier they used to stop the SIP if the market used to fall like this. Now they are allocating more. Forget about continuing your old SIP. They are allocating even more capital. So I think it wouldn't be far away. We are at what 15 crores DP accounts of the total population, 140 crores and counting. I think this 15 crore DP accounts is going to go more. That means more retail participation. But that means more liquidity strength, more power to the DIIs to face any kind of selling activity. And I often question the wisdom of these Goras shell. आप 15,000 18,000 में बेचते हो, मैं निफ्टी की बात कर रहा हूँ, निफ्टी की लेवल का, फिर आप आकर के 18-20 हजार में खरीदते हो, फिर आप 21-22 हजार में बेचते हो, और फिर आप 23,000 में आकर के खरीदते हो, फिर आप 25,000 में बेचते हो, और फिर सोचते हो कि आपको खरीदना है कि नहीं. आई एम श्योर 26-26,500 में ये आकर के वापिस खरीदेंगे.
Gaurang, over the last 30 years that I have been in the market, I have realized one thing. We are in an eternal bull market as far as India is concerned. At times, the market corrects by, at worst, 20%. In terms of a global meltdown, it corrects about 50%. But if you buy the dip on a monthly chart, it has always paid off handsomely. We are at almost 24,300 on the Nifty, and we've seen 25,000. Gaurang, Sakshi and I and Aditya will be here 10 years from now when the Nifty will be somewhere like 80,000, 90,000, and let's hope 1 lakh. And even then we will be discussing how retailers and how long-term holders of equity have made supernormal, fantastic wealth creation by doing practically nothing, just keeping SIPs in place and buying the dip in India. Sakshi.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Gauranga, for those wonderful words, and we always appreciate your time with us, and I'm sure you'll be with us on our daily calls show as well to address all the callers' queries very soon again, and to answer all those queries that come in even at these dips or at record highs. Thank you so much. Truly appreciate your time. And we'll continue our discussion with Aditya now. Aditya, what else is buzzing is Oil India now, almost 8% higher in trade within the energy basket. How are you looking at the stock now?
Similarly, means if we see Oil India, it's in a bull market. Means in this stock also every decline is being bought. Means we saw 2 days correction. Stock again took a support around 13-day exponential moving average, and now we are buying. I think this stock can move towards 665 to 670 levels in next couple of days. So at current levels also it provides a good buying opportunity. Stock is on the verge of giving a fresh breakout. So at current levels also, if someone wants to add, they can add a target of 665 to 670 levels.
Got it. Okay, 2.5% higher for the oil and gas index. That's the ones that's taking it away. Of course, ONGC is also up by 6% now. Coal India is up 4%. Apart from the energy stocks, so what else is buzzing, Aditya? It's the PFC and REC stocks, power financiers. What looks good to you between the two?
Well, at current levels, I will avoid both these stocks. They have given a short-term breakdown, so some profit booking and some correction at higher levels can come. So both these stocks from short-term perspective are looking range bound to weak. So I won't be advising to add fresh long position, at least in both these stocks.
Fair point, ladies and gentlemen. We have almost the first 25 minutes of trade upon us. Remember, it's the weekly expiry of the Bank Nifty, which has fallen for 5 consecutive sessions, down 1800 or almost 3.5% in the week gone by. At the moment, it's 355 points, about 0.7% higher. I'd just like to mark volume buzzers in the textile space. Look at KPR Mills, record high, 2.5% higher, 970. This is of course news and sector driven tailwind that is coming in India's textile sector. Almost 19.5 lakh shares traded, which is 2.5 times the 5-day average. Remember, yesterday's volume was super high. Aditya, KPR Mills.
Well, if we see this stock, yesterday was a good day to buy. Today means already from higher levels we have seen the stock has cooled down. Risk reward ratio is not in favor. So yes, stock has given a good breakout. It has given a breakout over 900, 920 odd levels. Some retracement around those levels will give a good buying opportunity. So overall, we are expecting that this stock may move towards 1060, 1070. But a good level to buy will be somewhere in the range of 930, 940. So from there, again, you will get a good risk reward.
Okay. Apart from the oil stocks, the energy space in the PSU segment, let's look at where money is moving in. Sakshi, there's no stopping REC and PFC. I'd just like to look at the PFC number. Would you have a brokerage report that's come out on PFC? Because the earnings were fantastic, and this is the rebound that's happening on the counter from 50-day exponential moving average. Yes, this looks good. Record high of 557, which we saw on 12th July. The counter is now at 495. A quick view coming in here from you, Aditya, on Power Finance Corporation.
Well, Shailendra, means as I discussed, means I would go on long at in RDC or PFC at current levels. Means PFC has a very strong resistance around 510, 512 levels, which is hardly 2.5% level from up from current levels. So from these levels, if you see, there's very high probability that from higher levels we will see some profit booking in RDC in both these stocks. And specifically, we see PFC around 510, 515. We can see some selling pressure. So I will avoid initiating fresh long position at current levels. Stock is going up, we can see another 2% up move, but around 510, 515, there is a very strong resistance in the counter.
Yes. We do have a Bernstein report on PFC Shell. Outperform call, a target price of 620. They did say that the quarter was a disappointing one because of the decline in the loan book on a quarter-on-quarter basis. But management has retained their guidance, confident in loan book growth coming in, and see this quarter as a temporary blip, and therefore they continue to retain their outperform rating. They also see visibility on reversal of provisions, which is also improving with a good bid received for the KSK plant as well. And they also say the company's strategy to hedge 100% of the yen borrowings as of the end of Q1 seems to have worked in its favor as well, and therefore a 620 target from Bernstein Shell. Okay, right. So we'll continue to discuss some more pockets apart from the energy basket and also the power financiers that we are looking at. Let us look at one counter from the F&O space, and that is GMR Airports Infra now, Aditya, showing us some traction. What is on the charts for GMR Airports Infra? 4% higher in trade within the F&O space.
And we can see some more upside in this stock. Means if we see this GMR Infra, it is trading in the band of 90 to 91 on lower side to 104, 105 on higher side. So again, from lower side, 90, 91 levels, we have seen a pullback in this stock. So this stock can move towards 102, 103 in short term. And if it goes above 104, then we can see 10 to 15% kind of moving. In that case, it may move towards 118 to 120 also. But yes, if you are looking for very short term perspective, then 100 to 101 will be the first target. And above 104, 118 to 120 will be the next target.
Okay, got it. So that's GMR Airports Infra for you, now ticking even further higher, 4.5% higher in trade at the top point of the day. A lot of buzzers within the mid caps also, beyond Oil India at GMR. You have Suzlon, you have Bharat Forge, BHEL from the PSU pack is up by 3.3% higher. Let's discuss BHEL with you. There was a time when BHEL, there was no stopping. It was consistently moving higher within the entire PSU rally. What's next for this counter? Anything after the consolidation that you look at promisingly?
Well, stock outlook remains positive, means after a big stellar rally for last couple of months, stock is in a range. It is stuck in a range of 280 and 340. Again, means from 280 levels, we are seeing some pullback. And we can see, it means this stock can move towards 320, 325 levels. So structure-wise, there is no problem in the stock. It is just in a consolidation phase. We are again seeing a pullback from lower levels. So we can see some 8 to 10% kind of up move in this in BHEL from current levels. So again, risk reward ratio is in favor with a stop loss of 281 can take a positional call with target of 335 to 340.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, it's pharma and pharma all the way, Sakshi. Obviously, the index is close to a record high. But what's really interesting is the way stocks are moving here. If you look at the number of, I think the pharma index has just a moment, please. The pharma index has 20 stocks, 19 of them are in the green, and the only losing stock is Gland Pharma, and that's because the earnings have disappointed. But in terms of top gainers, led by Natco Pharma, 4% higher, 1405. Lupin, we've discussed many times. Glenmark and Aurobindo Pharma and Zydus Life are 2.5% higher. Granules at a record high, 660. Let's just see interesting data. Which are the volume buzzers? Okay. Gland is, of course, earnings led, so is Lupin. Let's look at Natco Pharma. Aditya, coming to you. I think I'll just check, but I'm fairly certain that 1405 is a record high for Natco Pharma. What would you do at current levels on Natco, and what are the charts telling you?
Well, yes, Netco is trading at all-time high. Means structure-wise, very positive counter. Means for last couple of months, if we see, it has made a double bottom. We have seen a breakout of that pattern. So if we see positionally, the target comes in the zone of 1650, 1700 levels. Stock has already seen a big rally from 900 to 1400 in the last 3 months. But structure-wise, stock looks good. Means again at current levels also it can be bought, or on dips it can be added further with target of 1650, 1700 levels. So we remain bullish on this stock, and we recommend to add at current levels and not declines.
Okay. What else is buzzing? Sakshi, I think we'll also track NTPC. This was one of the stocks that corrected the least over the last 2 or 3 trading sessions, and it's an interesting number, Sakshi, I'll share. High was at 426 on this was Friday of August 2nd, and in the carnage it went just to 405. Now back up again at 419. Aditya ji, what are the long-term charts of NTPC telling you amid this strength that they are showing in times of a crisis all around?
Well, quite a strong counter. Means one side rally again in this stock we have seen from 120 odd levels to 420 odd levels. And again, means if you rightly said, in this carnage also, which we saw in last few trading sessions, stock hardly saw a dip of 3 to 4% and again recovered in a single day. So structure wise looks very positive. 4 to 19, 420, 22 is 2-3 rupees is a little bit of a resistance band. But once that is broken out, stock is moving towards 455 to 460. And if we are looking for positional target, we are looking towards 480 to 500 also. But again, this is a little bit a slow moving counter, so investors need to have some patience. But I'm expecting that this stock may move towards 460 to 480 in next couple of months.
Okay, got it. Let's also discuss some of the Nifty next 50 stocks. The index is up by 1.7% higher in trade. Interesting names. Varun Beverages is coming back into for 3.2% higher in trade. We also have stocks like Zydus Life Sciences, that's up in trade. Ambuja Cements is back in trade. You have, of course, DLF from the real estate news that's been pulling up this stock as well. Avenue Supermarts is pulling up. Zomato is up by about 2%. A lot of these interesting names. Let's discuss with Aditya. Aditya, first you tell me, as far as stocks like Varun Beverages and the entire QSR chain is concerned, because you've been looking at stocks like Devyani International, Jubilant Foodworks, some such stocks showing us some bounce here and there. Is there anything that looks attractive to you within the QSR space right now?
Varun Beverages, after recent correction, looks good. Means a stock has already corrected more than 10% in last 4-5 trading sessions. And if we see a long-term chart, 1450, 1400 is a very good support zone for this stock. And yesterday stock tested those levels. Today we are seeing a pullback. So I'm expecting that this stock may move towards 1650, 1700 in next couple of weeks. So means at current levels it can be added. Risk reward is clearly in favor of buyers in Varun Beverages. Similarly, if we see Devyani also, means stock structure is positive, means it is just facing some resistance in the range of 180, 185. Once it breaks that range, then this stock may move towards 225 to 230. So both these stocks, Varun Beverages and Devyani, at current level look good and can be added.
Okay, got it. Another space that we haven't touched upon today is the Adani Group stocks. I wanted to ask you, Aditya, where are you keeping your focus? Would it be still with the cement makers, ACC Ambuja, that's been showing us some ticks higher within the entire infra play, or would you go with the, Adani Enterprises and Adani Ports that are, of course, the Nifty stocks? How are you really looking at the opportunities that exist within the Adani Group right now?
Well, I think Adani Group whole is looking little bit subdued. I'm not expecting a very big up move in these counters, at least in the short term perspective. I mean, at higher levels, we are seeing some sign of profit working in most of the Adani Group stocks. Last week, we saw a couple of some positive traction in Adani Wilmar, but again, we are seeing some selling pressure. Last two trading sessions, we are seeing some profit booking sign in Adani Wilmar also. And again, if we see cement stock, both ACC and Ambuja, at least on short-term charts, are looking slightly weak. And we are expecting that they can see some correction. Like if we see Ambuja Cement, it may move towards 620 to 605 levels. So stocks look slightly weak, and similarly ACC also looks weak. So I will avoid Adani Group at least from a short-term perspective, as I'm expecting some subdued to negative in these counters.
9:53, ladies and gentlemen, 7 minutes left to this show to be wrapped up. So far, it's been an okay sector. There has been a very, very sharp uptick on the PSU segment, led by the energy space, ONGC, oil, BPCL, HPCL, the power financing twins, PFC, REC, and of course a whole host of small banks doing fantastically well. What is a bit of an issue in this bounce back? The Nifty itself. So far, 226 points higher at 24,218. Now, you might think that this is really good, but remember the high today was 24,306. Essentially means that we are off about 80 points from the high, at least 90. But what's worrisome is that every single 5-minute candle on the Nifty has a lower high and a lower low. So it's basically selling. It essentially means that today might turn out to be how yesterday was. You opened with a bang and then sort of fell under the weight of your own buying. So that's a bit worrisome. But apart from that, the gap which with the index opened seems to be on its way getting filled. Apart from PSUs, it's a rocking show on the pharma space, led by a stunning set of numbers from Lupin. Not only is Lupin up, its enthused counters such as Natco Pharma, Aurobindo Pharma, Glenmark, as also Granules. Remember, all of them are very high beta items and they are doing phenomenally well. What else is moving? There's been a bit of a disappointment on Tata Power. The earnings, which are down 1%, were actually impacted by a one-off. I would have presumed, given the strong guidance, the stock would have looked up dramatically, but it's down 1.8%. Okay. And of course, disappointments in particular from Bata India, and to some extent from how should I say, even Gland Pharma, but a stunning set of numbers coming in from PI Industries, Blue Star, PB Fintech, and Chambal Fertilizers. Sakshi.
Okay, got it. Well, last few minutes on the show. Metals pack, Aditya, I wanted to take your view here. The index is of course surging about 1.7% higher in trade, but it's been really volatile as well. Where do you think investors can continue to keep their focus within the metals pack to beat volatility?
If we see whole metal pack, the metal index looks weak. It has given a short-term breakdown. So a couple of metal stocks are looking weak, like Tata Steel, SAIL, both these stocks looks weak. But some of these stocks are showing some positive traction. Like if we say Hindalco, it means I'm expecting that this stock may move towards 645, 650 levels. So this is one stock among metal pack which can be kept in radar and can be bought with a stop loss of 610 and target of 635, 645 to 650. But steel stocks are looking weak, be it Tata Steel or SAIL. Both these stocks have means given a breakdown, and we can see some further correction of 5 to 8% in both these counters.
Okay. Aditya, anything else that we may have missed asking you that must have caught your attention that you'd like to highlight in terms of any stocks that traders must keep an eye out on?
Well, United Spirits is one of those stocks which can be kept in the radar. Means if we see this stock again, means in this last week correction also didn't corrected, and again means when buying is coming, this is the first stock to outperform. Stock is adding fresh long position again. Today it has added almost 2% shares in open interest in the last half an hour. So this stock looks positive. I'm expecting that it can move towards 1580 to 1600 levels. So clearly a big move in this counter can be seen in next couple of trading sessions. So United Spirits at current level looks good and can be kept in mind.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Aditya, for being with us on this very special edition and sharing all your thoughts and ideas with all our viewers. It's a pleasure to host you. And the good part is that the Nifty is managing to hold on, above that 24,200 mark and 230 points higher in trade right after the first 45 minutes of the trade are over. 0.5% of an uptick for the Nifty Bank as well, and about 1% uptick for the Nifty right now. All the sectors are still holding up into the green, and that's the good part as well. Let's see and whether this move sustains throughout the course of the day. That will be very important to watch out for. So viewers, stay tuned with us through the course of this session. We'll wind up on this very special edition on the morning show of Market Today, but do stay tuned. Earnings conversations, IPO conversations will be up next, and of course daily calls at 12 noon that answers all your stock related queries. Stay tuned, there's a lot more lined up for you. Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra and this is your favorite show, Daily Calls, that addresses all your stock related queries. Now, in case you're watching us for the very first time, this is one show where our top market experts tell you all the answers to your stock related queries. So in case you're watching us for the first time on our YouTube platforms, send in your queries on those platforms, or else this is the WhatsApp number where you can directly send in your queries along with your name, your location and your contact details so that we can dial you back and include you live on this show, and you can speak to our top market experts to take the advice from